Ready? Finally, yes, Jean. Bonjour, Anine. Welcome everybody to the regular RTC meeting here at Fortune Bay Resort Casino. It's been a long time since we've been here at Fortune Bay, so it took a little while in setting up, but we're ready to go. And with that, we always start our meetings off in a good way with invocation by our spiritual advisor, Jean Goodsky. Finally.
David Morrison. Here. Travis Morrison.
Excused.
Jane Drift.
Here.
Peter Boney.
Here.
Okay, next we have approval of the agenda.
I got one adjustment on the agenda. Eddie Chambers will be presenting for Randy Long.
Okay. We have any other additions or deletions to the agenda? If not, I'll call for a motion to approve the agenda with that change.
Who?
Moved by David. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Pete. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, silent, motion carried. Next, we have the meeting minutes held from June 16, 2021. At Net Lake.
I have a question on page 1. Where we talked about the Lake Country Power was going to be using some herbicides, and that action was tabled. Do we know where we're at with that?
Tara, on our minutes, it says that Lake Country Power had a request to use herbicides that was tabled. And we were wondering if you know anything about the, when they spray for the herbicides and stuff under the power lines. Has Lake Country Power contacted our DNR department at all, or?
Yeah, Chris Holm is on that already.
Okay,
We don't have a date. We let Jenna Letty know that she should have one of her maintenance people or something accompany us.
okay,
So then they can learn from us what they can do when something happens over there. So they're working together on that.
okay,
As far as I know, they don't have a date yet.
okay,
And I think it might when Jenna originally, she wanted it approved by you all.
Okay, yeah,
So Chris is working on that.
okay.
I don't know if you guys need to have some sort of letter that he can draft up and you approve, or if it can be a simple email. I don't
Maybe
know.
an email and then bring it back, because we did table that at the last meeting, so
Okay,
once it gets finalized with the
because
date.
we're looking for an actual plan, exactly where is
Okay.
the side being, we need all the details,
Good.
not just a simple email to us
Okay.
telling us that it's gonna happen. We need to know where, we need to know wetlands are nearby and that kind of thing.
Yeah, if you can just email Robbie and let him know when that's ready to go, and then we'll bring it back to the council.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that's all the questions I have.
Okay. Any other questions on the minutes? If not, I'll call for a motion to approve the minutes from June 16, 2021 at Net Lake.
Move.
Moved by Chief. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dave. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, silent, motion carried. Next, we have introduction of new staff.
Okay, we have Michelle Long will introduce some dental staff.
Good morning, Michelle.
I didn't know that I was going to be doing this. So I'm introducing Kylie Hannanen. She's a new dental assistant. She'll be working at Lake and Vermilion. And then Margaret Simonson, she goes by Peg, and she's a new hygienist, also be working Vermilion and Net Lake. We're so excited to have them.
Well, welcome, ladies. We're very happy to have you with us. We have a shortage in our dental area and our patients are well booked out. So you're a nice sight to see that you're willing to come work with us, and we appreciate that, and welcome you aboard. Thank you.
Welcome.
Welcome aboard.
Good job, Michelle.
Yeah, that's all we got right now.
Okay. Next, we have the consent agenda. I will read that. Approve the donation contribution to Indian Legal Assistance for serving band members with legal services and to issue the check. The check was in the amount of $20,000, and that's an annual contribution. That's been ongoing with Indian Legal. Approve the request from George Strong to Sole Source membership dues for KBFT from Ampers in the amount of $6,500. Approve the request from Dave Anderson to Sole Source the revised Advanced Minnesota proposal to train 4 additional participants in the SMAW welding program. The previous cost was $91,000. It is now $136,000. The difference to be approved is $45,000. Approve the billboard lease contract between KBFT and Red Sunset. Approve the request from Travis Bakke to Sole Source LSS Financial Services that are available to all band members. The cost for 2021 is $10,080. Adopted resolution number 93, 2021 application for ARP emergency grant for Native American language preservation and maintenance. Approve the mental health block grant amendment. Approve the request from Jenna Letty to close the casino at midnight, June 28th, instead of 2 a.m. to complete a slot system upgrade. Approve the request from Randy Long and Angela Wright to Sole Source Cap 60 software in the annual amount of $3,500 and set up fee of $2,500. Approve the request from Pam Hughes to purchase a gator from Duluth Lawn and Sport for the Leander Roadhouse. Approve the traditional healing grant amendment for FY 2021. Adopted resolution number 94, 2021 grant application for Big Woods Transit for technology upgrade for vehicles, drivers, and dispatch. Approve the request from Joel Astelford to purchase a plow truck in the amount of $218,745.18. Adopted resolution number 5, 2022 approving the submission of the application for the housing preservation grant and to match funding amount the band receives. And approve the traditional healing contract amendment for FY 2021, 22, 23, and 24. Approve the Pitney Bowes lease addendum, and that is the consent agenda. We have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I have a question on one of them. Regarding the ARP Emergency Grant for Native American Language Preservation and Maintenance. Do we know specifically what they're going to be doing if they get this grant?
I do not know. I know that it was attached with the resolution, the grant, as to what was going to be done with regards to the program. So we'd have to ask, I believe that might be Jalen Strong that submitted that grant.
Okay.
Any other questions on the consent agenda? If
No.
not, I'll call for a motion to approve.
Well,
Moved by Shane. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Chief. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, silent, motion carried. Next, we have Tad Johnson, discussion on an American Indian Advisory Board for the University of Minnesota Duluth. Good morning, Tad. Can you hear us?
Okay,
There you are. Hi.
Great. Took me a minute to get in there. Thank
Oh,
you.
we can't hear you, Tad.
Oh, geez. I'm unmuted.
Hang on, we still can't hear you.
Okay. Oh, wait, let me try this.
Hang on, we're having some technical difficulties with your, huh? We can go ahead? Okay, go ahead, Tad.
Okay, I have a little bit of an echo here, but thanks, Madam Chair and members of the council. I'll be very brief. Can you hear me okay?
Go ahead, Tad.
Okay, yeah. Chancellor Black from UMD and the president of the University of Minnesota asked me to go out and talk to all the tribes about the American Indian Advisory Board policy that just got changed. And I sent out a list to Chair Chambers regarding who he had contacted already. And what this is essentially, this used to be in place. It's a state law, actually, from 1994, that if 10 Native Americans get together and want to form an American Indian Advisory Board, they can do that. But we have, I think we have a lot more American Indians at UMD this year that are coming in than we have before. And I know what they do at the Twin Cities campus and Morris, which is all a good thing. So the chancellor took the opportunity to create a board, and he asked me to go out and chat with folks about it. The folks that Chancellor Black has contacted is Chairwoman Chavers, Chairman Deschamps from Grand Portage, Stephanie Hammett, the president of Fond du Lac Community College, Roxanne DeLille from Fond du Lac Community College, and Jeff Tibbetts from Fond du Lac, and others, April Clearwater, Dave McCormick, Secretary Treasurer from Grand Portage, and Ferdinand Martineau from Fond du Lac. He's also interested, but I pointed out to him that there's only one person from Bois Forte on there, and I was particularly sensitive to that. So I was going to suggest that I can't tell you who to appoint, but we're delighted that Chair Chavers is going to be on this board. This is not a huge it'll probably meet a few times a year. It'll be strictly advisory. My dogs were totally silent until like a minute ago. Anyway, but I would, if you folks want to nominate a couple more people, you don't have to do it today. I think that would be good for just to have more representation from Boys Fort on this band, on this board. Because I know you've got a lot of students that go to UMD, and anyway, and we're really happy to get Boys Fort band members when they come in. So the other thing I wanted to mention is we got a grant from the Mellon Foundation for about $330,000. And we just pretty much gave most of the money to MIAC. I kept some behind for my interns because they were unpaid for a year. So about $20,000, I'm guessing, will go to each tribe. What we want to do is write the Native American version of history of your relations with the University of Minnesota. And so I know there's a sore spot, particularly with the genetic research that's been done on wild rice. And I think that's something worth writing about to put in this report. And I think several tribes will do it, but I know the chair has talked about her uncle who was in that business, who got forced out by the paddy rice business. And I'm guessing there's other stories like that, but the U of M has a new president. So for the first time, we have a president who's, she hired me. She's also hired Karen Diver. I think there's another person who's on hold who might have their sound, might be not, maybe shouldn't be. Anyway, I think that's why the echo is there. But anyway, we're willing to train in, if you have a student or anybody on archival research, that's part of the grant. So we have like 8 American Indian Studies professors on this group ready to train people. So we essentially, want to turn over, MIAC will turn some money over to you folks. MIAC is also hiring their own historian to coordinate everything. And so our idea in writing this grant was, we don't want we'll do as much research as we can from the U of M side to find out what happened. But we want to know what, from the Boys Fort and the other 10 tribes, your perspective on your history with the University of Minnesota, good or bad. And there's a lot of bad. I mean, there's the Cloquet Forestry Center is right plopped down in the middle of Fond du Lac Reservation. The U of M went out and did experiments on kids at Red Lake, which Karen Diver and Karen is now my boss. Karen and I were just at Red Lake yesterday, and they're pretty ticked off, which is understandable. The Dakota people are upset about the large amounts of lands that were taken under the Morrill Act, and the Ojibwe people are upset about that as well. A lot of lands were taken. The Morrill Act passed in 1862, and it was just about the time of the Dakota War. So the Dakota were getting, besides 38 people getting hanged, they were essentially kicked out of Minnesota. Their lands were then sold, and the sales were enough to build not only the University of Minnesota, but the Ivy League Cornell University and 33 other universities. And so there was also several other lands that were taken that went into the big pot of money that the University of Minnesota has. And I guess my big question is, a lot of money was made off of American Indian land, and why can't all Indians go to college for free? So I'm getting a little ahead of my skis there, but and Karen Divers with me on this, so we're trying to figure out how to get there. But anyway, an astronomical amount of money, and everybody knows this, was taken from tribes. So that's one of the things the Dakotas will be writing about, and the Ojibwe if they want to. But I mean, you guys are sitting right. I mean, my tribe, as I tell people, is right on the Iron Range, where billions and billions of dollars were taken. So, and there's like the Natural Resources Research Institute. There's a taconite chair, and I called up to see what that was about. And you know, there's a whole bunch of things where tribes should be benefiting from the taking of all this land. So anyway, that's what we're writing about. It's not real popular with the administration, but I think it has to be done. And I'm going to start it. I'll probably retire, and then Karen will wrap it up. But we're doing a truth and reconciliation thing. We're doing the crummy part now, which is the truth, which is the part I get to do. But we need to dig down and find out, you know, and also, you know, this is going to sound unpolitic, but where the skeletons are buried. I mean, there's a lot of bad stuff that happened, and I think the University of Minnesota is responsible for a lot of bad things that happened to Indian people. So I think they need to atone for that. But that's my personal opinion as a Boys Fort band member. But all I'm requesting of the band is we want you to write your own history and your own, and we'll put it in document. If you want any help from any of us, you know, we're happy to show you how to do research or whatever. So those are the two things. The American Indian Advisory Board, I'm hoping that we get a couple more folks from Boys Fort, just so you're better represented. Second, tell us all the crummy stuff we've done to you over the years, and we'll make sure the president and the Board of Regents sees it.
Thank you, Tad. I'd like to congratulate you and Karen in your positions and acknowledge that the president of the University of Minnesota is really making strides, I think, with regards to Native Americans and the past history that they've had with tribes, and trying to at least bring it to the forefront. The history and the Mellon Foundation too, for allowing that money to be used, or giving us the money, the tribes, the money to tell our own history of how the University of Minnesota has impacted our tribes individually, I think is great. A lot of people may not know this, but in talking with elders and what have you, is that University of Minnesota was basically responsible for the paddy rice industry that ruined our ricing here in Minnesota, and along with other things like taking of the land. And I agree, Tad, that, you know, I think there'll be more bad coming out of all of this, but, you know, the more we can address it, because I think there's more bad things coming down the road anyway with the boarding school issues also. But I think, you know, I agree with you that all Native Americans should be able to go to school for free at any of the U of M campuses. Because of what's happened in the past. But I also am very pleased and glad to hear about the American Indian Advisory Board, because I really feel that our voices need to be at the table and that we need to be heard. And I know that we can get a couple more members on there. Thanks for that plug for Boys Fort. And we'll make sure we get that done. I don't know, do you guys have any comments? Okay. I know Dave has mentioned interest in sitting on the board, so we'll get you a couple names. And we'll, like you said, it only meets maybe a couple times a year, if maybe whatever, but we'll get you some names. And then I know that I believe Jalen is working with on this Mellon Foundation grant money for MIAC with regards to the historian stuff. And if we need your help, I really want, we'll reach out for it. But we really want to commend you and Karen for taking on these tasks and working with the University of Minnesota. There's a lot of issues there, but you guys are in the right spot for us and advocate for us. And the president has willing to go that extra mile to figure out what's happened in the past and to bring it forward. So we're glad to hear that.
Great. Thank you very much.
Okay. Well, you have a good day and pet that dog. He wants you to pet him.
One of my daughters woke up. She's back.
Thanks, Tad. Okay, moving on, we have Destiny Villebrun update eye care section of the PRC guidelines. Good morning, Destiny.
All right, now am I in?
Yep, we can
All
see you.
right. Perfect. Morning. Okay, so I am here just to do some updates on the PRC guidelines again. This time we are looking at updating the eye care section. Previously, what we used to do is we would only cover what medical assistants would cover for eye care. So we'd only have a select certain style of frames. And it's kind of been requested quite a few times over the years to change it. People don't generally like to get just the straight medical assistance frames anymore. And so what we are trying to do is change that and do just a set amount for single vision frames, bifocal lenses, and then the trifocal lenses. That way people can choose more of what they want rather than having just a small few that they can choose from.
Okay. Destiny, I'm going to read your eye care policy that you're proposing.
Oh, yeah.
Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay. The new proposed change for the eye care program under the PRC, or formerly contract health program, reads as such. The PRC program covers eye care once each year for elders 55 plus years of age, children and diabetics who are eligible to participate in the PRC program. Adult eye care is done every other year if there is funding available. Now, these are the proposed changes. The program covers the exam, lenses, no photo gray or progressive, as well as $150 for single vision lenses / frames, $175 for bifocal lenses / frames, or $185 for trifocal lenses / frames. Any amount that remains after the purchase referred care payment will be the patient's responsibility. Eyeglass replacement is available for children only, 1 pair per year. Those with a medical diagnosis of diabetes may also qualify for replacement glasses if deemed medically necessary and approved by a PRC worker. And then they have a listing of the the PRC program eye care service providers. So that's the change. And I think what Destiny is recommending, that instead of going to an eye care provider and having to pick from a limited amount of frames, that a lot of people want to get different frames that aren't within that category that they currently have. And so to give them the opportunity to have this amount of money go towards those frames, and then they pick up the balance.
Correct. Yep.
Any questions? No? Sounds like a good policy to me, because I know that they were going to say something.
Yeah,
Sorry.
if one of the patients have the photo or whatever, they can pay for that extra, right?
Yep, yep.
And so they'll let the people know what that.
Destiny, I think a lot of the eye care providers we use are the same ones we've used for many years, that know the policies, and that the photo gray stuff is the patient's responsibility.
Yep. Mostly the two main places that we send people to is the Eye Clinic North in Virginia. They're on Main Street. And then there's the Cook Optical, Raid and Cook there. And we work close enough with them that they know very well what we'll pay for and what we don't pay for.
Okay.
And they're usually really good at telling the patient while they're there picking out the frames what will be covered and what won't be.
Okay. If there's no comments on the policy, I'll call for a motion to approve the new updated eye care section of the PRC guidelines as presented. Oh, Moved by Chief, second by Shane. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, silent, motion carried. Destiny, when will this go into effect? The next fiscal year then, or?
Yep, so this will be starting October 1st with our new PRC year. So
Okay.
now that it's approved, I will get a flyer going and I will actually send it out in the mail along with the applications. That way people do know the changes made.
Okay, great. Good job. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Miigwech. Okay, so October 1st, that will go into effect and they're getting the information out along with the new applications. Next, we have Ed Chavers to request to sole source a new security camera system and cellular amplifier for Public Works and Bigwood Transit. Oh, Ed.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So this is just to upgrade the current system at Public Works. Since we built that food building there, we need to have a few more cameras to cover the entrances to that. And the cellular amplifiers mostly for Bigwood's Transit. We had to use the same vendor that we've been going with because the vendor around it has the equipment to install due to COVID.
Okay. Any questions for Ed on the new security camera system and cell amplifier for Public Works and Bigwoods Transit? Okay. Do we have a motion to approve that sole source request, excuse me?
Move.
Second.
Moved by Shane, second by Dave. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, silent, motion carried. Just for the audiences and band members that are watching, the cost is $25,340 and there is a budget in place to cover that cost. So, thank you, Ed.
Miigwech.
Next, we have Pam Hughes, cost neutral transfer contract addendum and community living infrastructure grant contract. Good morning, Pam.
Morning. So I think the first one is the cost neutral transfer. This one, it's an addendum to the previous one that you approved. And so the areas that were changed, there were 4 new reporting areas that we report to St. Louis County on. And then it was extended. This amendment makes an extension through June 20th, 2022. And we received an increase. The original amount was $14,090. And so now we will receive an increase. And so the total amount we will get is $35,500. What this is for the Duluth area or sheltering homeless individuals.
Oh, good. Good. Any questions for Pam on the addendum to the contract? If not, I'll call for a motion to approve the hospital transfer contract addendum.
Move.
Moved by Chief. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dave. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, silent, motion carried.
The next one is the community living infrastructure grant that we received from DHS. And what this one will do is it will provide for 1 housing resource specialist. That individual will work, they're going to be providing like technical assistance, assisting with case managers. And what it is for anybody with a disability, people that are homeless or at risk of becoming homeless.
What's the service area for this one, Pam?
So this one, we will be working Boys Fort and within St. Louis County.
Okay. So this is an additional worker for your
Yes.
program? Much needed.
for our
right?
program, and then also for like housing when they have homeless individuals applying or
Okay.
disabled people.
Okay.
This individual can help them,
Okay,
tapping into different services and finding places to rent.
good. Much needed. Okay, do we have any questions for Pam on the Community Living Infrastructure Grant contract? And Jeff's reviewed this?
Yes,
Okay. If no questions, I'll call for a motion to approve. Moved by Chief, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dave, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, silent, and carried. Good job, Pam.
thank you.
Miigwech.
Okay, next we have Robbie Goggle.
Okay, first I have the direct assistance to the band members for the ARPA funds. How many ARPA funds, sorry.
Okay, Shane, you want to do the direct assistance? You want to do the direct assistance, or do you want me to announce it? Okay, the council met, and with the ARPA funding, we've been discussing about the direct assistance program to band members. And we realize that there's band members out there that are struggling financially and need the money, and we've seen other tribes are giving dollar amounts. We have the application almost completed in the next couple of weeks. We hope to have it out. Possibly online, but for sure it will be mailed to all band members. And then we've also set the amount at $1,000. And I want to reiterate that this $1,000 is basically for now. There could be possible other payments in the future because it is, we don't have to expend the money till 2020, what, Kim, 24. So I noticed on Leech Lake's application that it's a one-time payment. That is not the way this is structured. And so you will also be getting that payment out in September. There's a couple things we need to check on. And then once we get those dates in September of letting you know when the checks will be starting to be processed, they will be processed in September. It will be an open-ended application where you have from now till 2024 to apply. Once that application comes out, there'll be no deadline on it, so it's up to the individual when they want to apply for it. You can apply for it right away, or you can wait till 2024. It's up to you. Not the last day of 2024 though, please. So we're leaving it up to the individuals on the deadline or when they need the money. So that's what's been decided with the direct assistance payment to band members. And it will be in a resolution form. We have to pass a resolution, and we have to make sure we abide by the regulations or the federal guidelines that we've gotten from the US Treasury. And so that's what we've come up with so far with regards to this. We will get the application posted once it's completed. It will be a one-page application. We do need that for audit purposes. There's been questions as to why we have to have an application, and you will see that all tribes mostly have an application because we need to basically account for the money and make sure we're in compliance. If we're not in compliance, we will be told to send it back. And so this will be about 2.8 million, I guess, 2.8 million so far that we'll be using and estimated. But anyway, that's if everyone applies. So it will be a simple one-page application, and we'll try to get that application out as soon as possible. And then we will be having the checks issued in the order they're received as they're processed. And so that's all we have for today on the direct assistance update. We'll get information out as soon as we can. Next, we have the Birch pole regulations. And are you here for that?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we got to take action. I'm sorry. Duh. Do we have a motion to approve the direct assistance payment to tribal Boys Fort band members in the amount of $1,000? Moved by Shane. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Chief. Thanks, Dave. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, silent, motion carried. Okay, there. Next, we have the Birch Pole regulations. Come on up, Josh. Oh, been a long time here, long week. Dave messed up his stuff. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning. Birch Pole's exciting. All right, I'm presenting you with a new regulation on cutting birch poles within the boundaries of Boys Fort Reservation. Yeah, this all came about because a flyer was presented to the front desk of the RTG building saying that an outside organization was going to set up shop to come and buy birch poles from our band members. And as far as right now, Boys Fort doesn't have anything addressing gathering in the Boys Fort Conservation Code. So we are in the process of updating the Conservation Code to include gathering, but for right now, we want to get the birch pole cutting addressed right away. So right now, it would be unlawful for anybody to harvest or cut birch poles within boundaries of Boys Fort Reservation. And then right, they'll be having some guidelines, limitations, and band members are unable to harvest birch poles, but you can apply for a traditional use permit, which is going to be new. There still needs to be criteria to be added to that, but the forester will sign off on it as soon as an application will be submitted to him. And then there'll be no more than 3 calendar year to harvest birch poles with a traditional use permit. So right now, since there's nothing in place, other organizations can come in and abuse our natural resources because we don't have any rules, regulations, structure in place. So we just want to start getting that rolling. And right now it takes like decades for birch poles to regenerate. So we can give it a chance to heal our natural resources.
I know that the Conservation Committee met yesterday regarding this, and this has been an ongoing issue, not only here, but with even the 1854 treaty area. So, you know, the birch poles are kind of a hot item, if I might say.
They are saying that birch poles are the new copper wire of taking and selling.
I'm going to read we have a resolution adopting the Boys Fort birch pole regulation. I'll go down to the third whereas. Whereas the RTC is aware of off-reservation commercial interests seeking to purchase birch poles harvested within the Boys Fort Reservation. And whereas the harvest of birch poles for commercial interests would exacerbate the ongoing stress on the birch tree population on the reservation, thereby negatively impacting the band's natural resources and efforts to manage those resources. And whereas in order to ensure the protection of the band's natural resources, the RTC desires to regulate the gathering of birch poles without compromising band members' ability to gather for ceremonial or traditional purposes. Now therefore be it resolved that the Boys Fort Reservation Tribal Council hereby adopts the Boys Fort birch pole regulation attached hereto as Exhibit A, effective as of this date to this resolution, which will be today. And be it further finally resolved that the Boys Fort birch pole regulation shall be incorporated and codified into the Boys Fort Band of Chippewa Conservation Code. Any questions for Josh? If not, I'll call for a motion to approve the resolution adopting the Boys Fort birch pole regulation, which will go into effect today. Moved by Chief. Is there a second? Second by Dave. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, silent, motion carried. Good job, you guys. Good job, Conservation Committee members.
Rich, Josh.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, I see we're done with our agenda. I just want to say to everybody that we realize there's an uptick in cases with the Delta variant coming on the unvaccinated people and children, young people. And so we will be doing a campaign to hopefully have people get their vaccinations who are able to, that haven't got them yet, to protect our kids. We are meeting still every other week with our Turk committee. And summer, I hate to say, is almost gone. With August, I always think of school shopping as an old mom here. It's kind of on our way to school. So we need to keep our kids safe. You know, even if you get vaccinated, you still can get the virus, but you just won't end up with the side effects that you usually get if you're unvaccinated. They're very less extreme. So you probably wouldn't end up in the hospital, but as you know, when you turn on the TV, you hear that the variant is out there. So we want to protect our kids and our elders and everybody else. So on behalf of the council, I guess we'd all like to say, please get vaccinated if you can. If you can't, then, you know, practice the protocols of social distancing, always wearing your mask, and avoid large gatherings or whatever. But we want to say have a good day. It's nice to be back at Fortune Bay. Finally, I think it's been over a year since we had a meeting here. And we wish everybody well. Stay cool. The weather's been fluctuating, and hopefully we can get some rain so we can get some ricing done out there. We need rain for our lake, rivers and streams and everything else. So everybody have a good day, and miigwech for coming.
Miigwech.
Gigawaman.